Okay, so we're here with another review of the Real Housewives of Potomac. Alrighty, so we pretty much come in with, I believe Robin was on the phone with Wendy, and they're talking about the fact that Monique is going to be countersuing Candace. Now, I had already knew about this like mostly everybody else because we all know what happened. The case ended up getting thrown out on both sides. I think that was good legal strategy. However, in our reality, Monique didn't really have a leg to stand on with that countersuit. Um, but it was a good play by the lawyer. But again, I don't really think she had any real standing. But you gotta do what you gotta do. It is what it is. And so yeah, they're talking about that. And again, so remember, all of the girls they're getting ready to go to Portugal. So then we have Monique and Karen. They meet up and they're having a conversation about everything. And Monique, unlike Candace, is being reasonable and saying, I don't want you to feel like you have to choose between the both of us. I don't want you to like have a strain in your relationship with her because of me. It just is what it is. And Karen's like, no, me and Candace, we're good. We're just like in a little rocky space now. Monique was shady when she was like, "Oh well, that's how it started out with me." Let it go. If you don't want her to pick a side, and you want her to just, and you cool with her being neutral and being friends with both of y'all, then don't make little smart ass remarks like that, because all that does is feed into why Candace wouldn't even want Karen to be friends with you. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. Oh, and Karen spills the beans that they're going to Portugal or whatever, and you can tell at first she had a little bit of an attitude because she wasn't invited. I just actually stripped, but girl, you know good and well you wasn't going. It's kind of like Monique is kind of like on the outs, kind of the way that like Phaedra was at one point in time. Like outside of whatever she said about Candy and stuff like that, Phaedra really wasn't on the show anymore because nobody else would film with her. And I feel like that's partially why they even brought Wendy in, because nobody really wants to film with Monique other than Ashley and Karen. And to be quite honest, those three together is not a fun time. It's not interesting enough for me personally. So yeah, so then we go over to Ashley, and Ashley is talking to Michael. Her eye was bothering me the whole time because of the little blood vessel that was messed up. But anyway, so they're talking about how she's about to go away, and who's gonna watch the baby. And then she brings up the fact that she did see Monique, and she told Monique that she was going on a trip, and that Monique had asked her to pretty much write a statement about the altercation that her and Candace got into, that Ashley and Candace got into when she was at her house that one time, and she like tried to throw a knife at her, whatever the case may be. Like, okay. And Ashley said that she was gonna do it because they had her and her husband's back during the whole butt squeezing incident. Now this is how I look at it. Okay. I understand why Monique's lawyer wants to do this, because again, it's showing it's like a character witness type of thing. But see, with the way that I'm trying to tell you the way that my mind's working as far as me dealing with law and stuff. Like, if I was Candace's lawyer, especially since we have footage of it, like everybody said, I can literally make it, or I don't want to say make it, but make the story that that my client asked you to leave her premises and you came back. So technically, she was acting in self-defense because you came back into her home and started to berate her. That's just the way my lawyer mind would think. But anyway, um, okay, she said that Ashley said that she was gonna write it because of Monique and her husband backing them up when that whole situation happened. But here's the thing about that. Did you guys see the video? Did you guys see the video of when Michael actually did do it to one of the producers? I don't know if it was like on the first season or whatever, but I definitely seen a video not that long ago that actually showed Michael running up behind one of the cameraman's butts and going just like that. Going just like that. So that's wonderful that you want to have their back, but girl, we didn't need evidence, but we to already know what was going on. We already knew. But personally, if I was Ashley, I would have not written the statement, because I would not, because I don't want to get in the middle of that. If you are trying to, and this is how I know, this is to me how I feel like at the end of the day, Ashley, I don't really feel like you're trying to fix your relationship with Candace. for two reasons. Number one, it's clear that you don't like her. You're never really gonna like her. You deal with her because of the show, right? But number two, I feel like if you really are trying to get on a good foot with Candace, you would just stay out of this altogether. You would say to Monique, I understand, because if I'm you, this is what I would do. Monique, I understand like everything that's going on and stuff like that. And no, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. However, I would like to stay out of the middle of this. I would like to stay out of this altogether because although me and you are really, really close, I'm not trying to jump into a situation, especially when in that, granted, Monique is using her for a character witness. But the thing about it is that Ashley was not there to even see what happened in that particular situation. She was not there in that particular situation. So yes, I get the character witness and everything, but if I'm Candace's lawyer, I could flip it as, okay, well that's her experience. She wasn't even at the particular incident to see if she, like to see what happened or to see if she mimicked the same behavior. Um, but yeah, but again, that's if it was just me, simply because Ashley, you got enough stuff going on as far as your legal cases. But again, I'm not mad at her, because Monique is your friend, you trying to have her back. But the second reason what I was saying about her not really trying to be Candace's friend is because, okay, now this conversation was had with Michael and Monique asked this before they went on the trip to Portugal. And Ashley said she wanted to sit down and have a conversation with Candace. In all reality, you should have talked to her about it before y'all went on the trip. And I understand you doing it on the trip because of the show and more drama. But as a real friend, or if you really wanted to get somewhere with her, before y'all went on that trip so that your trip does not blow up and become a hot ass mess, you should have told her before y'all went, look, I just want to let you know this, that, and third. And then you could have let her make the decision on whether or not she wanted to go. But see, now you're purposefully, in my eyes, bringing drama onto this trip. Again, it could just be the fact that you're on a show or whatever, but that's just me. Even if I did, side with Monique and write whatever statement, I would have told Candace that before we got on that plane and went to Portugal. Because you're not about to mess up my vacation because you're in your fifis. Absolutely not. So we're at dinner. I'm trying to think. Is this after? Okay, so everybody, we get to Portugal. Everybody's cool. Everybody's cool, calm, and collected. Okay. I'm not gonna even really talk about Candace like too much because her story is the same. I don't care anymore. Um. So yeah, so we get to the dinner. Everybody's like, hey, let's just go to dinner at the hotel because everybody's tired, jet lag. Got it. So the conversation again comes up about what Karen said about Wendy. Now this is the thing. This is how I look at it. Karen was being shady. Do I think she was like purposely being like super, super, super malicious about it and it's really like, oh, fuck Dr. Wendy? No. But I do think that she was being shady because let's be real, it seems like from the beginning Karen didn't really care for Wendy. And that's fine because honestly, I really don't care for Wendy on the show either. But I wish, now, okay, the way that Giselle brought it back to her, I could see how Giselle kind of like exaggerated a little bit. But you did say it. And like Yama just told the person on the last little episode, we can't use what you don't give. So I wish in this situation that Karen would own it a little bit, like just be like, yeah, I was being shady, but it wasn't that deep. Like Giselle over exaggerated. Was I being a little bit was I being shady a little bit? Yes, I was, but I didn't really mean to like diminish or downplay anything it is that you do. That's to me what Karen should have said. But Karen tried to apologize anyway. Wendy tells this cute story about how her parents came over here and how her dad worked at a restaurant and how he became a manager and his thanks was going to be to name his daughter Wendy. He worked out with his. So that was cute. Everybody ends up going to bed. Oh, sorry. Before that, I'm so sorry. I'm skipping over the whole dinner. Sorry. And so then we have a conversation. They're like, is everything good with you and Michael talking to Ashley? And Ashley reveals to us that, not to them, but to everybody else, that Monique already knew about the fact that they had an open relationship. And so they go back to the when they the fight, the whole little situation right before they had the fight, and how Monique said, was like, oh, I do find it really telling that although Monique knew, y'all also didn't put in there, or y'all forgot to add in the part where she said, oh, with men or women. If she knew, she didn't have to say that. That was her being shady. That was her being shady, if anything. But anyway, so yeah, so they asked her about that. Then they asked how Karen's doing with Ray. She says things are getting better. And then, of course, rightfully so, Karen says, okay, what's up with you and Jamal? Oh, everything's cool, everything's cool. Now, in this situation, okay, so Karen starts to pretty much, I won't say go in, but she poking at Giselle about, well, if that's your man, like, why we don't see him? You always going to Atlanta. He's never coming, to Potomac to see you. He might come every now and again, but if we're your friends, why he ain't around? Why he ain't around? Now, number one, I really don't think. I'm trying to think about this hard. I don't think Karen really cares. I think Karen is using this opportunity to pretty much get back at Giselle for her coming at everybody else's marriages. Rightfully so. Kind of the same way how what I was saying earlier, like a couple like in the beginning of the season about no, actually how I've said before about Kenya in particular about Real Housewives of Atlanta. During like the last season, a lot of people that was Team Kenny was like, "Oh, like y'all also mean she's going through a lot." But here's the thing: it's hard to feel sympathy for somebody in a situation when when the roles was reversed, all you was doing is poking and poking and poking and jabbing and jabbing and jabbing. That's what Kenya did the whole time Kenya was on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Before she had a man, all she used to do is poke at people's marriages and husbands and all this stuff. Then she get a husband and everything get fucked up, and now nobody's allowed to say anything. That's so that's kind of the same thing that's going on right now with Giselle and everything. You know Giselle gets defensive and she's like, no, you don't need to see him. He's busy. He's busy. Wendy made a good point. All of our husbands is busy and they still make time to come, around, but it is what it is. And then Robin kind of jumped in a little bit and pretty much like kind of sort of agreed with Karen. Like, I mean, it's true. Like, where is he at? And in her confession, Judge Giselle's like, all of these girls is coming at me. I mean, Robin, I just need you to have my back. No, you want Robin to be your lackey. You want her to agree with everything it is that you say, and that's not how this fucking works. She's her own grown, green-eyed bandit herself, okay? Where we at as far as time? I'm sorry, I wanted to check the time. Okay, so then, everybody goes to bed or whatever, leaves, goes to bed. Giselle and Karen, Giselle? No, that's absolutely wrong. Giselle and Robin, they have a conversation in her room, and of course, Giselle's all up in her feelings, like, why you didn't defend me? And then when Robin broke it down again, which is, look, we're your friends, right? And first of all, that's why I say part of me, I do feel like, I think the majority of it is the fact that Karen is being very, very petty. But at the same time, I do feel like underneath all of that, she does care a little bit because we gotta remember Jamal cheated on cheated on Giselle. I mean, they're the woman he done been with. God knows how many times, embarrassed her, did a lot of stuff like that. And so what Robin is saying is like, I think where Karen is coming from is the fact that we just want to make sure that it's 50-50. It's not just you giving, you giving, you giving, you giving, and then him doing the bare fucking minimum. And once she said it like that, she got it. But I think that's, again, Karen didn't say it in the best way. She didn't. So then we go over to damn it, where we at it? I must have didn't write it down. But anyway, we go to Karen and Ashley or whatever, right? And they're having a conversation about what happened, and Ashley did agree to a degree that the way that Karen came at Giselle was a little bit messed up. She could have said a little nicer. Then they talk about, her whole situation. Oh, sorry, that happened in the morning time. Sorry. Back up for a second. Sorry. Later that night, we switch over to Ashley, right? And Ashley's on the phone. She's trying to call Michael. She's calling Michael back to back to back to back to back. He's not picking up the phone. So she ends up calling her friend Eve, who has Baby Dean. Oh my gosh. The way, shout out to Color Me Pink, aka Keisha Urban. Every time she talks about Baby Dean, it cracks me up. Like, she be calling him Benjamin Button, talking about how he got a full-time job. I'm done, I'm over. Anyway, so the her friend picks up and she's like, yeah, because he was supposed to be there at 7, so now it's like 7:11, and she's like, the baby's getting fussy, and he's still not here, he's late. So she's blowing Michael up. He eventually picks up the phone, like, oh, I was in a meeting. She's like, okay, well, you need to, like, why wasn't you there? It's past 7 o'clock. You never text Eve and everything. And then, he says to her, I can't do this. I feel like I'm being molested. And then hang up on her. Sir, I'm going to need you to choose your words a little bit more carefully. Do not ever in your white ass life ever say that you feel like because your wife is calling you about the welfare of her fucking child that you are being molested. It is disgusting. It is unbecoming, and I want to smack the fuck out of you for saying that. That type of language is unnecessary in a situation like this. It's not that fucking real. You want to talk about her not being that real? It wasn't that fucking real for you to use that word. I'm sorry. I was offended by that. And so the thing with Ashley, like I said, she ends up talking to Karen the next day, and after Karen tells her, after she tells her what she thinks about Giselle, she talks to her about how she got into it with Michael, and how, but she felt like she was overreacting, and he did call and say he was sorry. This is how I look at it. Okay, was she overreacting a little bit? Yes and no. Here's the thing. I don't have any children, right? I don't have any children. But right now, like my best friend, she just had my goddaughter maybe like back in July. And the way that she struggles as a new mother, like something as simple as like letting me watch her for a couple minutes while she runs to the store, that's kind of hard for her. So for Ashley to be smooth across the world, and granted she trusts her friend, but you his damn daddy, so you need to fucking be there, okay? And like Ashley Miller said on her review, I think the real reason Michael was defensive is because he probably was not in the meeting. He probably was doing something he got no motherfucking business doing. And I guarantee you, if Ashley would have not called him, he probably wouldn't have showed up to whatever the fuck time it is that he wanted to, or until Eve would have been blowing Ashley up. So again, was she overreacting a little bit, but not too much to me because she's a new mother. I felt so bad for her. I don't know why, because I see my best friend in her like so much, like as a new mother, just kind of like trying to grapple with like all of them new emotions and all of that other stuff going on. Oh yeah, I gotta hurry up because my phone's about to die. So then we get into cable cars. I really gotta hear it because my phone's about to die. We get into the cable cars and we talk about Karen being shady. Yes, Karen's being shady. And do you think people like Ashley being honest about her relationship? No, the fuck, she's actually not. And then when we get to the actual table, the two main things that happened at the table. I'm sorry, y'all, to rush. My phone's about to die. The main things that happened at the table is for some fucking reason, Wendy want to bring up the whole situation with Karen again. Girl, we don't care. I see next episode y'all gonna be riding together. I hope so, because I don't want to hear about this shit no more. I'm tired. You're a smart black woman. It's not that big of a deal. Let it the fuck go. Karen went in on Giselle again about Jamal, and honestly, I found it funny as hell, just like Candace did. Again, Giselle, you can't be running your mouth about everybody else's marriage, but now when it comes to you and your relationship, can't nobody say nothing. You got the game fucked up. I gotta go, y'all. Y'all get in the comments. Tell me what y'all think I'm about.